know exactly when I come on. I appreciate all of you for what you do. Tonight is the night before the big days. When I say the big days, for a lot of you that will be taking the exam tomorrow, which will be July the 8th, and also July the 9th, tonight is the big night, right? I hope a lot of you are winding down. I would suggest and recommend that you not stay up late because you need all the energy possible to conquer 4 hours. Okay, you guys have heard me talk about, can you pass this exam in 4 hours? You would need enough rest. Your brain needs to be well rested, and you have to have that energy to conquer. Okay, so I would highly recommend that we not stay up too late tonight. Okay, don't stay up too late tonight. Now, I just squeezed out a few minutes to go over a few things. Now, this we can't say this is enough for you to go into the exam, but this should help you guys somewhat. Okay, that's why I always talk about the workshop. Join the workshop, because you gain more out of me in the workshop. However, I just want to share a few things with all of us. Okay, if it's, let that be part of your last minute review. Once again, don't stay up late. Okay, now for musculoskeletal. Okay, if I were in your shoes and tonight was the night before the big day, okay, this is what I'll possibly be doing at this time. I'm going to start out with musculoskeletal, okay? And I am using Score Builders PTA Exam, the complete study guide by Scott Giles. You can use any reference of your choice, any book, any app, any website of your choice, but I'm just using this to kind of highlight the things I would be reviewing last minute, right? Like an overview last minute, not studying at this point because the exam is tomorrow. Now, in the musculoskeletal system, okay, make sure you have reviewed your upper extremity anatomy. This is exactly what I'm talking about, your arm, okay? If I was in your shoes, I would make sure I know where these muscles are, the names of these muscles, okay? If you've watched my videos for some time, I've talked about muscles and muscle action, okay? Make sure you know the names of these muscles and what they do in your arm, okay? Personalize it. A good way for me to remember a lot of things that I do remember, even when I was studying, is to personalize it. If I say to myself, okay, this is this muscle and this is what it does. This is that muscle and this is what it does, okay? Personalize. So make sure you know, okay, what it does. Make sure you know where they are. The next thing, real quick, is the muscles in your lower extremity, okay? So I'm talking about this diagram right here. Make sure you know those muscles, know where they are, and know the actions of those muscles. Now, we're going to go to the foot, okay? The foot gets a little tricky, but once again, guys, make sure you know the names of those muscles. Make sure you know the names of those muscles, okay? Also, I don't want to skip, but guys, you want to know about the nerves. Give me 1 second. It's kind of raining out here a little bit. It's drizzling. You want to know about some of the nerves in here, okay? You want to know some about the nerves in here. Now, let's keep going, guys. Let us keep going. I'm sorry I'm in my car, guys. I just got off work. And so by the time I get home, it's going to be real late. So I just want to share this with a lot of us, okay? Now, the next thing is muscle function. I just talked about that. Muscle function. Make sure you know the function of your muscles. For example, if we talk about shoulder flexion, okay? What muscle is responsible for shoulder flexion? If we talk about medial rotation of the shoulder, okay, or lateral rotation of the shoulder, what muscles are responsible for that? When I was studying for this, guys, a good way to remember, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. If I say something that is not correct, just correct me, okay? Let me make sure my brain is clear. Now, for shoulder rotation, lateral rotation, there's an acronym that I use to memorize that, right? It's TIP, teres minor, infraspinatus, and pectoralis major, okay? Now, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long day, but tip, TIP. Okay, that's the way I remembered that. So find some kind of acronyms that will help you remember those things. Now, moving right along, we also have muscle function. Once again, okay, lower extremity. You want to make sure you know those muscles and what they do. Lower extremities. Okay. What else? Gait. Okay. Gait is important. Gait is very, very important. I've talked about gait over a couple of videos. A lot of pathologies out there will change a patient's gait. So you should be able to know what normal gait is and what is not normal. Also on the same light is posture. Give me 1 second, guys. Make sure you know about the good posture and faulty posture, okay? 1 second. Can I turn on this light? Let's see. 1 second, guys. Let me see if I can turn on my light. Oh, that's better. Much better. All right. So make sure you know about normal gait and abnormal gait, okay? Also, when we talk about gait, we talk about step length. Make sure you know the correct definition of step length and what it should be, right? Step length should be, the average adult step length should be 28 inches between heel strike on one foot and heel strike on the opposite foot. Okay, that's step length. Make sure you review that real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. Manual muscle testing. I think it's very, very important. Manual muscle testing. Okay. Make sure you know how it's done. Make sure you know how manual muscle testing is done, okay? For the different positions. If it's sideline, if it's supine, if it's prone, make sure you know how it is being done, okay? And then you want to know about your gait standard terminology, okay? It's a little windy out here, guys. Also, we cannot escape goniometry, okay? Make sure you know what it is and how to measure different joints, okay? If you're trying to measure elbow flexion or hip flexion, all that stuff, shoulder medial rotation, shoulder lateral rotation, make sure you know where the goniometer needs to be placed. Which side should the movable arm be on? Which side should the stationary arm be on? Make sure you know it, okay? Let's see here. Okay, when it comes to the bones, and I thought about this earlier today, with your bones, make sure you know which bones are concave in as far as the shape and convex. Okay, I want you to go read that up, guys. Concave and convex. Make sure you know. Why do I say this? For many reasons, right? When we start to talk about end feel, okay? What is end feel, guys? End feel, by the way, is a passive assessment. Just in case, guys. It's a passive assessment. That means that you would be the one, as a therapist, doing the assessment, right? Let's say, for example, I want to find out the end feel for a patient when it comes to elbow flexion, right? So as a therapist, I would be the one moving that joint into elbow flexion. So end feel is a passive assessment. Also, when you're doing that, right, you're dealing with bones. So once again, make sure you know which bones are concave and which bones are convex. If anything I'm saying does not make any sense to you guys, well, this is a freebie, right? You have to come to the workshop where I take my time and dive into the meat and potatoes of what we need to pass, okay? But make sure you check that out. Concave versus convex. And it says it right here, guys, in this table. I don't know if you guys can see this. Make sure you know which bones have a concave shape, okay? And which ones have convex. When I talk about the bones, I'm talking about the head of the bones, right? This is a bone, this is the head. You want to make sure you find out, okay? I already talked about end feel. You guys know what end feel is, right? It's a type of resistance felt at the end of a range of motion of a joint, okay? There's different types of infill, right? There's empty, which means there's pain. Okay. There's bone on bone, which is like a hard infill. There's firm and there's soft. A good example of a soft infill would be like elbow flexion, right? So for mine, it's soft. Okay. In general, guys. Now, once again, knee flexion is also a soft infill. Okay, but just check out what I'm talking about, guys. I have to move right along, and because I have to talk about a lot of things, right? So that's musculoskeletal. Now, what I just shared with you guys is not everything you need, right? I said it so many times. I mean, the three major areas of the exam are musculoskeletal, cardiopulmonary, and the nervous system, right? And I've told you guys a lot that in my analysis, it's almost impossible to pass the exam if we don't hit those three main areas, because they account for like almost 60% of the exam. And remember, I keep talking about this, right? Like we need a 600 to pass. We need a 600 to pass. So we have to be scoring at a certain range to be able to pass. And those three areas make up like 60% of the exam, okay? All right, so let's move right along now. I'm going to go to neuromuscular and nervous system. Let me go to the back real quick. Give me 1 second. A couple of things I have shared with you guys on my YouTube videos, right? And let's just go all the way to the back. I want to give you guys key concepts you want to review briefly before you go to bed this evening. I want to welcome to my channel Nezu. Nezu, welcome to my channel. Also, Anita, welcome to my channel. I appreciate you guys joining. All right. Brain. The brain. The brain, guys. The brain. The brain, okay? Why is the brain important? And the brain, of course, is part of the nervous system, right? The brain and the spinal cord. Now, guys, that's not all we need to know, right? So with the brain, of course, there's different lobes. Okay, there's different lobes of the brain. I want you guys to go review that, right? There's a frontal, there's a temporal, there's a parietal, and there's an occipital. Okay, now there's also 12 cranial nerves, right? I know I'm kind of jumping the gun there. There's 12 cranial nerves, right? And so we need to know about that. Let me go ahead and tell you guys, or let me explain something. With the cranial nerves, there's so many ways they can ask you questions. This is what I think, okay? They could even ask you questions like, okay, well, let's say, for example, the olfactory nerve, right, which is the first of the 12 cranial nerves. They can ask you a question like, where is it located in the brain? Where? What lobe? Is it the occipital lobe? Is it a temporal lobe? Is it a frontal lobe? Anything is fair game. I told you guys so many times, like anything on this exam is. Okay, guys, sorry. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. So sorry about that. Now, so the brain, right? There's so many ways they can ask you about the cranial nerves and many other things. There's a lot of pathologies out there that affect the brain. And when it affects the brain, right, it comes in the form of there's disturbance with gait, there's disturbance with gross motor skills, fine motor skills, and many other things, right? It could affect speech. It could affect a lot of things. So the brain alone, guys, it's to me, it's the possibilities of questions from the brain is just like endless. Okay, so make sure you review that before you go to bed. Basic thing, make sure you know your brain anatomy, right? I mean, I've talked about this before. Anatomy and physiology, very important. Once again, knowing your brain, know where the parts of your brain and stuff like that. Same thing with your muscles. Know where the muscles in your body are. There's a lot of muscles, but at this point, this is a last minute review, and I'm just trying to share like a lot of free resources right at this point of what a lot of us can do to succeed, okay? Now, once again, cranial nerve function. Cranial nerve function. See, guys, I just kind of jumped everything and I started talking about cranial nerve function, right? So make sure you know your cranial nerves. Okay, which one is which? What does it do? And possibly how is it tested? Okay. Yeah, so cranial nerve testing. I just talked about that. Okay, so once again, parts of your brain, of course, the brain is broken down into lobes and also broken down into left hemisphere and your right hemisphere, right? So make sure you know different parts of the brain and function, what different parts do, okay? Nerve and nerve innervation. I've talked about this before. Know where your nerves connect to in your body, like as far as like function, what muscles, what they do, and stuff like that. Sensory testing, very important. Okay, and then we have upper versus lower motor neuron lesions. Make sure you know what they are. For example, multiple sclerosis, traumatic brain injury, Bell's palsy, Guillain-Barré syndrome, Huntington's chorea, polymyelitis, cerebral palsy, CVA. Make sure you know about those things, okay? Make sure you know about your pediatric reflexes. Very important. Make sure you go over that. Neuromuscular and nervous system terminology. Make sure you know those things. What is aphasia? What is emotional liability? What is hemiparesis? The list goes on and on, right? Let's see here, guys. So yeah, that's neuromuscular, guys. I'm gonna have to stop in a second. It's kind of raining out here and stuff like that. But if I have a few minutes tonight, which I really doubt, because right now it's already 8:53. Okay, I will share more. So at this point, I want all of you to please make sure you go to bed on time. It's last minute review. Don't stay up too late because you need enough energy and enough rest. A lot of you taking your exam at different times tomorrow and also on Thursday, right? So please get your rest. And also the day of your exam, like tomorrow, please don't starve, okay? I don't know how your body functions, but make sure you don't starve. Make sure you don't have stuff that has a lot of caffeine that's going to get you going to the bathroom back and forth. Remember, you have to remember, it's test day, right? Your nerves are running. For some of you, you're nervous. For some of you, you're not. You're fine. For some of you, you're anxious. So there's all types of emotions going on exam day, okay? So be cognizant of that, okay? What are the tips I want to share with you guys? Just take it easy, okay? You got this. You know more than you think you know. Follow all the tips that I shared in the workshop. For those of you that attended the workshop, make sure you follow all those tips, okay? All right, so I don't like to use the word good luck. I know you got this. And when you guys are done, okay, of course, it takes 5 to 7 business days to get the results. I want you guys to talk to me and tell me how you did. Like, hey, I passed my exam. Thank you, coach. I appreciate you and stuff like that. I want to hear those victorious stories because I know you got it. Once again, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button so you know exactly when I come on. I appreciate all of you for everything, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Go out there and continue to be successful because I know that's who you are. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great evening and good night.